In the second part of the tutorial, we will concentrate on details of the building. If you missed the first part, check it out in the link in the description. And let's get started. We are going to start from creating entrances elements. First, we need to select several curves from the start and the end by using list item component. Make a panel and choose multiple data, then put 0, which will always take the first element of the list, and -1, which will always take the last. And don't forget to flatten the list and apply the same copy to all the curves you need. For example, the upper rays. Next step is to copy the central line offset together with perpendicular frame component. Make some addition to the original offset, so when you change the original line, this line will change as well. For example, 1.5 meter, but you can change it again later. And if you change the slider of perpendicular frame component to 1, you will have two planes from both sides of the line. Then intersect this plane with both lower arcs. Then move these points by using the same vector that you used to move the main structure points. Then use these points and create the line SDL and give it the direction of the lower rays. But notice that from the other side you see plenty of rays. That's because we need to select only the last ray of the list. So give it some space and apply the list item component and select only first item. And of course don't forget to flatten the list. Now you can see that it's fine. Then get the main arch and make an offset of it. And get the end point of this arch, as well as the central line. Just explode these lines and take the vertices using the list item. Now get the end points of the upper rays and create the line in between them. Use the same line SDL that we used to create the middle point in between two lines, and specifically the midpoint of this rays. For that, use point on curve and connect it to the list item. Now let's combine all these points to one component by the order they need. Then for these points, use the nurbs curve and just change the degrees integer into 2. Now let's construct the new plane in the middle of our structure. And apply unit Z to the Y coordinate. Now intersect this plane with the new nurbs curve using curved plane component. And divide this curve and this plane using shutter component. Now connect this point with the point of the main central line and create the new plane on the top of new SDL line in order to intersect it with this line. Then you can adjust its height as you need. Now take the endpoints of this new created SDL line and using line component connect these 2 points. Then join these lines by using join curve component and make a fillet. But it doesn't work because we actually made a mistake and created 41 copy of this point, so you need to come back, get the line SDL and apply a list item for that. After that, you'll see that now the fillet is working perfectly. Then take a list item for both of this fillet and by using loft component, just connect them together. Then let's come back to the part of the script from the previous tutorial and fix something. We need to take line SDL and apply it just one single time. Because we want to remove the first and the last items of this extrusion. By that we will use cal index and just apply the same panel with the first and the last element of the list. Now we can hide the elements we don't need. But just don't forget to flatten the list as well. And we can hide the loft and bring back the fillet lines. Now we can start making surfaces, but first let's join these upper lines and then create the surface using edge surface component. Now you can see, because we always select the first and the last element in the list, we are getting surfaces on both ends. By using list item, separate this curve into 2. In order to make the surface, we'll need to make a continuous closed curve. Create this new little line. but we just need to create some additional line here in the bottom. For that, just use both of the endpoints. So now we can continue and join all the curves. Perfect. Just don't forget to flatten this list. And now, as you can see, we have two closed curves from both sides. The next step is to divide this curve with the huge number of steps. And create polyline through them. Then take a patch component. Connect this polyline to the component and change the S value to, let's say, 100, just to have bigger definition. It might take some time, but at the end you will have much better, smoother result. And of course it's going to be from both sides. Now let's just apply the same principle from the other side. Just connect all the needed curves in one closed curve. And for better result, don't forget to follow the order. Again, it might take a while, but the result is pretty good. But if you have any other solution how to join these curves, please write in the comment below. Now we can bring back these lofts and just hide some geometry we don't need to see. Now we just need to make the last elements of these entrances. Let's just highlight all the lines we need and create one more line just by connecting two endpoints. Then just join them all together and apply surface component to these lines. Now let's create this upper skylight. The main geometry we need for that is our upper points. Let's just output them in another component and bring them in the other place, just so we can work with them more comfortably. Let's flatten them both and create the reverse list for one of the set. And then we create the nurbs curve through these points, and just don't forget to close it. Now we put through this line perpendicular frame component. Create two domains in order to have the center of our rectangle in the center of the frame. Make one of the values negative. Now you can change the section as you need. Then, through this section, just apply the loft component, but close it. Just adjust the section for your geometry. Now copy the same points, but unflatten them because we will need to connect them with each other using polyline. Then just get the middle of this line and move it up a little bit using unit Z. And then just create the new polyline through this upper point. And then connect this upper point with each other with another polyline, but just flatten it. Then to make a profile through this line, just copy the rectangle we created a while ago and just change the section. And you also don't need to close this loft. You can also change the accuracy of the slider. Now I'll just simply apply the pipe component to the other set of polylines. And I'll use the same set of polyline to create the glass surface. And I'll just create the custom preview to show the glass surface differently. Now let's just hide our ribs and create the glass surfaces on sides. For that we will just need to create two lofts through our original lower lines. And I'll use the same custom preview for these lofts. Now when this upper part is ready, let's create two more elements on the top. For that we will have to take our main arc and just move it down using unit Z. And then we will have to project this line to our new loft surfaces. But for this project component, we will need to show the direction that we will take from our deconstructed plane. We just need to take Y value from this plane. And we can do the same for another loft. Now let's just interpolate both of our upper points and create a loft between these two lines by flattening it. Now we just need to extrude this loft by making new line SDL and taking the base point and the direction from the previously deconstructed plane. the other loft, we just need to copy this SDL line and make the value negative. And now you can adjust the height. The last element we wanted to show today is the horizontal separation on the glass surface. First we will need to create a set of planes. For that we will have to use the main central point and its moved copy. We will create the line in between them and create perpendicular frames. Now we just need to intersect these frames with the loft component. And here we go. We just do the same process for another loft. And just for simplicity, I will apply the pipe component. You can make a rectangular section, that's totally up to you. And the very last thing I wanted to show is how to fillet some of the edges of our main ribs. The main thing in that is just to know to which edge you need to apply the fillet. For that I'm just using the simple trick by deconstructing the brake and taking these curves. Then I'm just taking the middle point of these curves and applying point-based component. Now we can visualize these points. Now you can see that edges I need is 17, 16, 7, 5, 4 and 2. Then I will use fillet edge component and in edges part I will just set multiple integers. As you remember, we will need 17, 16, 4, 2, 7 and 5. But the component is still not working just because we didn't apply any radius. And now as you can see, the edges are perfectly rounded. I maybe just slightly changed the radius. Perfect. Now we can do the same for another side. You can make more details as much as you need, but I think this level of details is good enough to present your model. Now I'll just combine all elements that I need to bake into Rhino in one geometry component. And after that I can simply bake it into Rhino. I will bake the glass separately just because I want to apply the different material for that. And now you can export your model. I'm personally using Lumion, so I will export it in colada format. If you have any questions or you have any problems with the model, please let me know in the comments below. and subscribe for the channel so you don't miss the next one.